Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Magic Arena Run. Today it is Midweek Magic and it is the release of the new Alchemy set for Phyrexia AWBO B1, which means we get an Into the Future. Basically, it's a set of pre-constructed decks for us to test out the different Alchemy cards. We'll be testing each one of them, see how they play out, see which ones are good, which ones are meh, and a lot of things to check out. So first off, this is the big red deck. I see a lot of burn. I see a KFK. We see Gitu Ember Coiler, which is actually back from the previous Dominaria. So this is not the new one. Now this is, you may discard a card, seek a card with greater mana value. So it's a good way to keep churning advantage. Rahilda is also an oldie but goodie from the Midnight Hunt. So far, nothing new quite yet. Sardian Cliff Stompers. Let's see what's up. Fable, Reckless Stormseeker, Caught. This is the interesting one. Phyrexian Harvester. This is the red equivalent of Phyrexian Obliterator and the Phyrexian Vindicator. So this one is a 4/4 menace for 5 mana, a 5/5 menace for 4 mana. Whenever Phyrexian Harvesters dealt damage, you may seek that many non-land cards. So it's card draw. It's not as great as redirecting damage or making your opponent sack permanents. We'll give it a try. It is hard. It is a bit of a dodge. An interesting you can do is that it doesn't check who is dealing damage. So we could say deal damage to it ourselves. Like we could ping it with our Strangle to net us 3 cards and a Braid to net us 3 cards. Opponent might try to kill it to go with it, but that also nets us cards, I guess. We also got Magmatic Scorchwind, which is 5 mana 4/4 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, if there are no non-basic land cards in your library, which explains all 24 mountains, deals 3 damage to any target. So it's a 4/4 flying dragon with a built-in lightning bolt. Okay. We'll go through all of these quickly because there are only 4 decks. Now this one is Counterpoint, so I suspect this is all about counters, and that'll be quite right. Between Slip Out the Back, giving point +1/+1 counter, Evolving Adaptive, getting oil counters, which acts as +1/+1. Tenacious Pup adds counters to the next creature. Okay, this is a new one. Argotian Uprooting, put 2 1/1 counters on each of X target lands you control. So X equals 1. That's you're gonna get a 1. You're gonna get 1/2. You're gonna change one of your lands into a 2/2 elemental creature with reach haste. When this creature leaves the battlefield, conjure a card named Forest onto the battlefield. They're still tapped, so it replaces itself. So you're not really losing anything. The interesting trick is that you can do it to multiples. You don't get to untap said creatures though, so you are really taking a turn off to do this. Let's see what else. Ledger Shredder's a classic. Thrumming Bird, classic. Kyrion Beastcaller. Okay, there aren't enough creature spells, I think. Sylvan Smite. This one actually is an older one. I believe this one was from Brothers War. So put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. If you weren't the starting player, then it's a bite effect. But we got this new one here. Well, there's also below the Contaminator, Simian Simulacrum. But here's the Contagion Dispenser. When it enters the battlefield, proliferate. When you proliferate during your turn, draft a card from the Contagion Dispenser spellbook. So what do we get from here? We see the Bloom Hulk. There's a Contagion Engine. This is a classic from Scars. Contagion Class, also a classic from Scars. Evo Sage, Contentious Plan. Basically, it keeps going. Except Snarble Tide's probably the weirdest one. Skydiver. Most of these cards are relatively cheap. Okay, there are a few that are a bit on the bigger side. Sword of Truth and Justice. Hey, did not expect to see this one. But this was, I believe, in the most recent... No, I believe this was a Modern Horizons card, if I'm not mistaken. Thrumming Birds. Smell Fear. Okay. Canker Bloom. Okay, pretty decent. Lots of them. I guess it's about landing the Contagion Dispenser and then just churning out Proliferate after Proliferate, because every card in the spellbook proliferates, so you're not going to run out of Proliferate. Yo, dog, I heard you like to proliferate. Anyway, next deck is the Mirrodin deck. Unfortunately, this is all Alchemy, so no Colossus Hammer. Still, Kemba's Outfitter, converting giving an equipment equip 1 is actually a very big deal. This is probably the one card everyone's looking out for. Kembaka Enduring, this one's in the main set, but does give a free free attach, so it's also quite good. Actually, I'm suspecting we're gonna get Cat Hammer. Okay, Foundry Beetle. This one was from Neon Dynasty. Does make artifacts cheaper, equipment cheaper. As far as equipment goes, the War Whip, Sword of Flood and Frontier. You got this Bladehold Cleaver, so when the equipped creature dies, you draft a replacement. And looks like there are a good number of replacements. Let's also double check. There's Hexgold Sledge, which comes with its own creature. Well, between the four Mirrodin and the Goblin Cavalier, it does come with its own creature. So that's neat. I always thought that the Rebels generated were red. It turns out that the Rebels generated are colorless. Or might be mistaken. Well, Rebel Salvo is always solid. And you got Dragonwing Gliders in the main set. So pretty much the key card here is going to be Kemba's Outfitter. It doesn't make the equipment themselves cheaper. That would be somewhat of the other cards do. But making the equip cheaper is a very big deal. Also, for Mirrodin gets you a free equip. And finally, we got We Are Legion. So I believe this is an aristocrat style deck. Between the Cursebound Witch and the Shambling Gas, lots of death triggers. Gixin Recycler, that one I tested out back in the Black Team's Death Festival. This was a very solid one. We got Arik False Gold Warden, so has a starting intensity. So whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, increase the intensity. And then you can sacrifice by paying 5 mana. Target opponent loses X life and you gain X life. So this is a constant threat, even though the power and toughness does not increase. But to keep it going, we got Extraction Specialist, which is a very good way to keep buying it back. Also, we got Seething Skitter Priest, Toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control and creature cards in your hand perpetually gain. When this creature dies, create a Phyrexian Might token. It's gonna really pair up. In terms of excited, I'm excited for these three. I'm not that excited for Big Red, so we'll do that one first. Let's see how it pans out. Also, yeah, Power Ink Flushing is complete. I haven't done some printing in a while, so yeah, I had to flush the ink. I should really start printing a lot more often so ink does not get clogged. Otherwise, I'm going to end up having to replace the printer again. Oh my gosh, that's such a big nightmare. Anyway, so at least with Big Red, we're not going to run out of... We're not going to get mana problems. So, questions first. Do we go Ratilda or Ember Coiler? Opponent goes for the Evolving Adaptive. I probably want to do Ratilda because First Strike will definitely get through. Opponent goes Carrion Beastcaller. Now opponent can double block, which I am actually counting on. Okay, opponent doesn't double block, lets it through. What do we net? Evolving Adaptive. And I guess we do play Ember Coiler now. And this kind of works for us, even though we don't get KFK right away. We can play the KFK to grow this one a bit. Hold up a Braid, because it's presumably our opponent doesn't have a full swath of creatures quite yet. Opponent going for Tenacious P. I really should find a better way of calling the doggo, because it sounds like it's a tenacious trip to the toilet. Also, our Goten Uprooting. Okay, generates a land. If our opponent swings with this, am I willing to trade this? Yes, I am willing to trade that, actually. So I can discard a card, seek a card with greater value. I will discard the KFK. We might net a removal spell. Nope. We get the Cliff Stomper instead. See what we can net here. Bloated Contaminator. We're not casting that. That's fine. Okay, opponent finally hits their third mana, goes for their Contagion Dispenser. So this engine is a bit live. But we have a timing opportunity. So they get the free Proliferate, but they will not draft a card from this. So sure, these grow a bit bigger. We're probably gonna take 4. So yeah, so I can choose not to pitch, play Phyrexia Harvester, or I can, let's see, -3 deals damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control. We can take out the Beast Caller, but when it dies, it gets to distribute the counters, which is a problem. I could also pitch this one, but we don't have the 5th land yet, so we're going to decline this. I suspect we can also do the +2 grab a mountain. I'm actually gonna swing with everything first. Then we can test it out from here. Oh, we can actually still cast the Bloated Contaminator. Opponent's gonna give up Tenacious Pup, which is fine. We hit Simian Simulacrum, which is also fine. I'm actually gonna leave that exiled. And we will cast KFK now. This does set up our Phyrexia Harvester becoming a 6/6, among other things. Opponent going for a second Kyrian Beast Caller. Sure. This one gets Trample and Vigilance, but we are just gonna take the 5. We're pod racing here. Now, I could say discard Caught, net us the 5-drop. Yeah, I guess we can do that. I would prefer to discard Caught over the Harvester in this case. There is an argument for discarding Harvester, but no, we'll discard Caught. Actually, this is a removal spell. We'll discard Harvester. Also, because of this, it becomes a 5/5 flyer. Sweet. Now, I know this deck doesn't really have much in the way of protection, so we're actually going to snipe the Dreamroot Cascade here. Oh wait, I think it does have protection. Oh yeah, slip out the back. But it takes it out of the combat equation, which I'm fine with. So we can swing with Contaminator, we will swing with Cliff Stomper. Yeah, we'll swing with these two. Opponent willing to go down to 1. Okay, the Proliferate not. Yeah, I will flip this now because that nets us an additional creature. Our opponent getting stuck on lands. Well, they technically hit 4 lands. We just happened to. Yeah, they did not have enough. Now I'm concerned if the blue-green deck is good. I was excited for that, but now after seeing it play like this, I'm afraid that a lot of people are just going to be playing big red. We'll see if that turns out to be the case. We'll find out. But we'll claim that win. And well, got ourselves a nice mythic to go with it. So we'll swap that out. Yeah, we'll do the counterpoints deck. So there are some combat tricks. Apparently, no, this is the only combat trick. So it's actually very light. Well, there is removal. All of a sudden, I think the big red deck is a lot. The big red deck might be a lot better than any of the other 3, just because it's so straightforward. The Abrade does have its uses. It's actually a good match both for the counterpoints deck because the payoff is the engine. It's also a good payoff against the 4 Mirrodin deck. Not so much the Aristocrats deck, but you do remove a lot of stuff. Anyway, we are definitely landing this on blue. Thank goodness we hit the collar. Yeah, we'll scry. We'll probably do Ledger Shredder turn 2. Opponent is doing the aristocrat thing, so... I actually forgot to check the removal suite here. I saw a lot of creatures. Because I want... Well, technically this can snipe it no matter what, so... Yeah, I say we play the Beast Caller. It's the highest return payoff. Worst case scenario, we just take 2. So far, there might be a wedding announcement. Okay, that's not the worst. So it grows in intensity, but that's about it. Actually, no, I'm wondering why it's not letting... Yeah, take that out. Go for the swing. Next turn, we will do Contagion Dispenser. Also, if our opponent happens to have removal, we will slip out the back. Opponent drops a Cursebound Witch, expected. Also remember that we can use slip out the back on their creatures. Not the best thing to do, but it is an option. But yeah, we will have to do the Contagion Dispenser. Opponent might have spot removal for Beast Caller, but we will still get the replacement card. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell Proliferate, we are kind of short. Definitely not doing this one. I might just take Contentious Plan. That's the safest bet. Yes, I will swing because these creatures are about to grow next turn. This would probably be my last chance. Opponent might have an extra trick. It is what it is. Oh, Deadly Dispute. Okay, not the worst thing to happen. And I was... So one thing we can do is we can play Ledger Shredder first, then Contentious Plan. We probably keep the slip out the back. We'll probably bin Argotian Uprooting. Yeah, the Argotian Uprooting is actually supposed to be quite good, but yeah, we actually want to cast an Argotian Uprooting soon. It does give us a gold wide option here. Now our opponent's gonna have chump blockers for days, which is a problem. Yeah, I want to hold up the 1 mana, so we'll drop the Ledger Shredder. Do Contentious Plan to Ooh. I definitely want to land a counter on this though. Yeah, we'll pitch the Uprising even though that's not what we're supposed to do. And let's see what our replacement card is. Another Kyrian Beast Caller, so... Hold on. Skydiver, Contentious Plan. No, we do Contentious Plan again. We need to keep drawing cards. Now, I am still invested into swinging here. Because our opponent is invested in giving up their tokens and they only have so many of them. Like, sure they could Deadly Dispute. That net effect is this kind of the same no matter what, so it is what it still is what it is. So next turn, definitely play out our other... Yeah, can't do it. This is the part now, because we do need to play creatures. But we don't have that many, which is fine. Okay, we'll resolve that. Definitely want to play the adaptive. We will pitch Yavimaya Coast. Phyrexian Recycler. Opponent's going to probably start swinging in this. We might want to hold back the Beast Caller now. Opponent's also holding back their creatures, something to keep in mind. Hey, we got a Tenacious P as well. So first, Crossroads. That leaves us with 6 mana. I want to cast almost all of these. I guess we hold back the Tenacious P. Let's set this to green first. Definitely want to untap because I want to have the extra mana up. So, okay, this is going to be an odd spot here. Definitely cast Beast Caller first. It's a shame we can't give this trample quite yet. Yeah, we're going to have to take a lot of hits here, but we need to go wide. We might even pitch the Tenacious P. No, we'll pitch the island. Yeah, we're just going to keep growing. There's our Ledger Shredder, and Contagion Engine is... Yeah, we need to take the Contagion Engine here because we need to start targeting this. Opponent is going to try to take it out once and for all. 4, 5, 6, 7, which I'm fine with. Because it means I can then move it to the other Beast Caller. Yeah, we take a few hits. Oh, I can actually slip it out the back so we don't lose even another creature. But I want to hold this up in case our opponent does... Yeah, we'll let it die. I do have to note that I am not going to get to proliferate right away, so there is that concern. Opponent's going to try to rush drain us here. Also, the good thing is these get exiled, so they don't. So Blood Artist won't trigger off those. See. So when these die, they will generate tokens, which is going to be annoying. Opponent goes for the Unearthed, which is fine. So far, no indication of actual removals, which is a good thing. Yeah, because that exiles, no Blood Artist trigger, so it's not the best combo, but still interesting in itself. Okay, so I have two choices. I can actually hold up on this first, but I also want to get rid of this Blood Artist because it's just locking me down. We're gonna do that right now. Oh, in each creep. Oh, it affects all of them. Okay. Okay, something to keep in mind. Now, I could have swung with the Beast Caller also, but this one is fine enough as it is. So now, we would be able to wipe. But one trick we probably have to do is to take out the Blood Artist. And only the Blood Artist. Like, we don't take all these out first because that will be 2 triggers instead of 1, and there is no rush. And opponent concedes. Looks like they figured I'm just gonna start shrinking their I'm just going to shrink their board. They've already lost their advantage, so to speak. We were not out of the woods quite yet. The Trespasser's Curse is still an issue there. But we kind of got there. Looking good, I might say. So next up, well, there is the We Are Legion deck. I'll do the 4 Mirrodin deck first. This one does have a lot more... Actually, I'm surprised. Does the black deck not have remove? No, it has 4 Rite of Oblivion and 2 Patriarch's Humiliation, so there is quite a good amount of removal there. Our opponent just happened to not land on any of those. But that Sanguine Brushstroke with the Blood Artist is gonna be a big issue, something to keep in mind. As soon as our opponent realized that we had a way to take out their Blood Artist, their advantage was gone. Also trading for the Kyrian Bloodcaller. Okay, we also have our own Patriarch's Humiliation, but we are not casting anything until turn 3. I guess it's fine. This deck is mostly red, so we want to land our red mana first. Another Glider. It's expensive. I want to try something else. Let's see if we can hit something else, because we know we have 1. Depending on the deck, if this is the black-white, it's the black-white deck. We're going to have difficulties landing our turn. Now we can Patriarch's Humiliation this one. Actually, I prefer to have a creature before humiliating this one. Only going for the untap, but that means they have a 2 mana spell. There is no reason to do the Arek. So we do have the option to just make her perpetually lose all abilities. We'll do that now. Kind of wish I just played the planes. That made no sense. Okay, hit ourselves a static net. That's good. So in the event our opponent swings, I am actually quite fine blocking both. I could also just block this one, then move the gap. Opponent is swinging with just that. Sure, we will block. This does have well, it's not an expensive equip cost. If our opponent goes to remove this, they have Patriarch's Humiliation. They have 2 copies of that. They could just fire it off. It'd be fine. No, wedding announcement. Okay, they are about to go wide. Oh, you also hit the Blade Hold Cleaver, but I do want to cast that, so first we'll equip here. Then we swing, see how our opponent blocks. I suspect Shambling Ghast. Yeah, Shambling Ghast, they'll net themselves the creature token. We net 3 damage, I'm fine with that. So next turn, if our opponent doesn't have anything we need to remove immediately with Static Net, we can equip the Hexcold Sledge here. Opponent going for the Sanguine Brushstroke. That is something we need to remove. Let's see. Shambling Ghast. Ghast is fine. It's the Blood Artist that concerns me. Oh, we are hitting our mana. I can ignore it and just go for Dragon Wing Glider, Flying Haste, force them to have... Yeah, we're gonna ignore it. I could swing with this one for some trades, but no, we'll do... we are now pressuring our opponent to answer this one. So if they don't have the right to Oblivion, we're pretty good. If they do, not so great, but we can at least go for Bladehold Cleaver then. No, just a recycler. They do have the right of Oblivion. Okay, but they're taking out the equipment instead, which makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Okay, so Jor Kadim, it's when this attacks, so actually I have an interesting surprise here. Let's see how much of the mat we can mess up. Oh, except I should have cast this first. Okay, never mind, we trade. Yes, we're gonna actually get hit by a lot of triggers. I forgot this is not the instant one. But we will play. But we will now play. Oh, the problem is if we played Cleaver, opponent has Oblivion. Yeah, we messed this up. I forgot that this is not the flash. So opponent's just gonna take this one out. They could also exile the token, which is not the word. But yeah, we goofed that one up really big. We're supposed to do this first. They probably would not have blocked in that sense, which would have been fine actually. Yeah, that's a good reminder. Static net is not. Opponent does realize that I actually do want to block though, right? Hero of Oxid Ridge. Creatures with power 1 or less can't block. Okay, but they do have a power 2. Oh, Mirran Crusader is perfect here. We are still in trouble because of my misplay though. But this is a bit expensive to equip. But if I can land Crusader, then equip. Actually, any of these is fine, but definitely want to equip this one. Also, our opponent's only white removal is Patriarch's Humiliation. Taking that out, smart. So definitely played this one, so we got our value. Also, that means that we can equip this cheaply, and now we have a 4/3 double striker. Opponent is gonna have to start. Oh, they actually drew both of their rights, so they might actually target the equipment instead. In which case, our target now is just gonna be the Blood Artist. Seeding Skitter Priest. Yeah, the tokens are also going to be an issue here. If we can hit one more mana, I can just run both of. Yeah, we're going to run both of these. So first off, we're going to static net. Now we need to also decide if this is the one we want to take out. No, we take out the Blood Artist. That's kind of their win con at this point. The Skitter Priest is not an issue. Now they do have 2 shots of Rite of Oblivion, but they will need to remove 2 things. I will note that they could just take out the static net, which, yeah, it sets everything back. But could have been worse. If I went for this one, that means I'm giving them tokens again. This one, I just give them this back. So that's not the worst thing to happen. Also have to remember, this is colorless, despite the black color identity, but this does have double strike, so we're good in that. Wow, turns out and we can actually make cats if we need to. The opponent's going to go for that. They're taking out the brush stroke, which is fine. So I can equip this onto here. This will allow me to swing with this one. Gets me another card. If opponent decides to block enough to take him out, we just cast Jor Kadim again. So no, except for the Blood Artist part, no harm, no foul. Okay, maybe losing 3 life is the harm and foul part. Yeah, we're honestly still in danger. So opponent might just do Rite of Oblivion on Jor, which makes sense because that is the card draw. They might also do it on Kemba because that is continuous cat tokens. They might have also drawn into more Rites of Oblivion, which would be a problem. But yeah, I did make one big goof up here. Hoping that this can carry through, but I will not be surprised if I lose. But in this case, if I lose, it's not the fault of the deck. It's my fault. Let's see. Opponent is tanking here. Going for Jor. I'm fine. And thankfully, but because it exiles, opponent does not get to draw. Plays another Arik, which is a problem. Let's see if opponent decides to swing. We'll re-equip this later, but we definitely want to swing with this one first. Because that's still free damage. Opponent might... Well, it's intensity 0, so it actually does nothing right now. Opponent needs to have creatures enter the battlefield. Well, this would be intensity 1. That would be intensity 2. But if the plan is to now go with the double strike and avoid our opponent in the air, we might be fine. This is a bit expensive to re-equip back and forth though. We can only equip once. Now there is no reason not to block these. It triggers that one, but it's better than just taking the 2 damage outright. But it's now going to be a game of math. Oh, Rebel Salvo. No, they can do this in response. We definitely want to take this out, that's for sure. So opponent can sack this in response. So we go down to 5, 4, 3. No, they did not. Go down to... Go down to 5. Pay for the equip there. Ooh, did we actually... Okay, we might actually have done ourselves in just because of that. So here comes the difficult part. If our opponent swings with this, if our opponent swings with everything, we block with everything. If our opponent swings with just 2, it's only ETBs. We will block. There is no reason not to block. Opponent might just be trying to net something might be trying to net something. I am trying to think of the different curses that our opponent could play out, but looks like it might not be the case. Okay, opponent did choose their card. Let's see what they land. If it's the 7 mana curse, it's not really doing anything. We would have them. Opponent's best bet is to actually just find a way to remove this Dragon Wing Glider. No, that said, our opponent can still survive by sacking this one, so they're not quite dead yet. I could swing with everything though. That would ensure our opponent does die. No, opponent concedes. Looks like they realized that. Yeah, we had the board. Whew. Very close. We almost became kitty litter in that situation. Anyway, that leaves us with one more deck to try out. It is going to be the white-black deck. It looks very interesting, but I say it is a good matchup against the red deck. But we have to be really careful about our use of removal. We really need to land those removal spells. And need to be judicious about it. Like, technically we have 10 shots. And they are not cheap. We do have to sacrifice stuff. But if... Like, I think the times our opponent was hitting... Okay, so definitely I could play. I don't see a reason to play this one right away, because I might actually want to sacrifice the Witch to Oblivion. So we'll actually go Koilos first. Take the hit. If we can hit an untapped land, that's perfect. We got all these available. If not, we can actually just hold up Patriarch's Humiliation. Opponent's actually going for the green-blue deck into a Tenacious P. Okay, so we did not land that. Let's see if our opponent blocks. I was talking about judicious use. This is not a judicious use. We are actually, but we kind of have to start clearing this out. We know our opponent will go for a drop next turn, so right up Oblivion is perfect here. Evolving Adaptive, okay, but that probably means they do have a slip out the back, so I'm actually going to just play the Gixin Recycler, hold this one back. This one we might actually lose due to the lack of mana. Can't really do anything about that. We did get kind of greedy. Our hand was all 2 drops, but now we are starting to pay for it. There are a few 3 drops in the deck, so something to... Opponent goes Kyrian, Beast Caller. This is a good target. But again, our opponent is trying to say they do have slip out the back. I will swing with the Recycler first. Maybe we get the trade. Maybe our opponent just takes 3. More likely, the more likely scenario is I'm actually just going to cast Deadly Dispute because of how bad our mana situation is. If our opponent plays the Proliferate, okay, nope, it's a Ledger Shredder. But now our opponent's incentivized to play another spell. And most of their spells are too... If they play another Evolving Adaptive, it'll be real annoying. That means we still have to assume Slip out the back. I really want to fire off that right. But for now, we're going to fire off the Deadly Dispute. I think our opponent's using the fight effect. Okay, that's annoying. Well, it's not completely annoying, because this is still a fight effect, so we actually will still get the two of these in the yard. Okay, I need to draft the Witch's Cottage because we are short on lands. We did hit another land though. Unfortunately, only one swamp, so this will be a tap land for the most part. Oh, this has trample too, so we probably should have held that one back. Oh, how did this ETB tapped? Okay, I must have missed something, right? But anyway, we are going to sack this. We're going to sack this one. Yeah, that is our second spell. We probably will need to fire this off next. Yeah, it entered the battlefield this turn, but I ended up tapping these. What gives? Did that... Oh wait, no, I tapped this for this one. Okay, that makes sense. I forgot this. I did not have this on board yet. So I'm actually going to have to take the 5 damage here. Opponent does have the Contagion Dispenser. Yeah, we're probably going to concede this one. We're way too far behind. We did have the Rite of Oblivion, but not being able to play our drops on time really hurt. And also shows that the green-blue deck was quite explosive there. I'm going to skip that one because I'm honestly torn in my feelings on that. But we will try this one again. We're going to see what works here. And we're not going to give up on this deck quite right away just because it's the first one we lost. There is a reason why we lost there. It's also the possibility that we played around too much around Slip out the back. I believe there are only like 2 or 3 copies of that. But we still have to respect it. Okay, this one we cannot keep. We have no permanents available. This one we can keep. We can bin the Skitter Priest. We can just lead off on double Cursebound Witch. I need to double check the mana here. It's actually quite possible that this deck has very few lands. Or we just might be unlucky. Our opponent's definitely playing the green-blue deck again. Maybe we have the advantage of going first. I'll definitely play Recycler afterwards. If we can hit another one and start going Wedding Announcement, then we're good. Okay, we might go Wedding Announcement. Okay, Carrion Beast Caller's a given. We can if our opponent wants to hit back, it's fine because we do have Humiliation. Taking out all abilities is a big deal. Opponent goes below the Contaminator. Now we have a choice to make. We might actually want to take out the Contaminator here. And I think we do because we are... And I think we do because we're not getting past this one by itself. We're just gonna have to raise this one. Yeah, draw a card is not a bad deal here too. Hey, drew the right. Let's see what our opponent's follow-up is. It'll be annoying if it's the 4-mana engine because we'd have to fire it off on that one first. If our opponent has a fight effect, that's fine. I keep forgetting that's actually a bite effect. Evolving adaptive. Okay, definitely going for a right at this point. I could also deadly dispute first then right, but no rush. We're just gonna write it right away. Yeah, I'm gonna keep swinging because I need those cards. Still missing lands. Good grief. Opponent goes Tenacious P. Go into a Kyrian Beastcaller, which... Oh, because of the +1/+1, it fires it off here. Okay. We are still taking out Beastcaller here. Both of them technically grow. And I think... Yeah, we need a black, but I'm pretty sure we don't get to Unt. No, we don't want Skitter Priest. I could go Deadly Dispute on the win. I could pressure them a little bit just by swinging with this one. Even if all it does is take out the Kyrian Pup, I'm kind of fine with that. If our opponent goes for Proliferate, we definitely want to double block the Adaptive in this case. Bloated Contaminator, sure. Oh, opponent wants to redistribute those counters. Will oblige. So we'll see. Okay, distributes a little on each. Opponent is respecting our right, I suppose. No, these both have well, this doesn't have trampled. This one does. Trespasser's Curse, Witch's Cauldron. I want... None of those are really good options. I'm just playing... I'm going to end up just playing the Curse. And I think realistically what we're going to do is just play Gixian Recycler. And hold up Deadly Dispute. No, we're gonna play the Trespasser's Curse. We just need to hold this up to give us a blocker. Simian Simulacrum, stacking them counters. So I'm actually just going to take the hit at this point. Now they get to proliferate the rest of the stuff, which is annoying, but not the worst thing to happen. I guess... The deck is heavy black. We have enough of... The deck is heavier on black. Let's see what our next plan is. Shattered Sanctum... I don't think we need any more mana at this point. Sorcerer's Broom. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you may pay... Not the best option, but it is an option. Definitely holding back. We are going to be forced to block Simulacrum, though. Actually, no, we are forced to chump block Evolving Adaptive. Actually, no, we'll see how our opponent stacks it. Okay, I'm actually going to block the Simulacrum if our opponent swings. Nope, he doesn't swing with that. Can I take? No, I can't take. We have to block. Ooh, the problem is it's pay tree to get the benefit, so no dice on that situation. We need to hold back a blocker. Yeah, we'll play the Sorcerer's Broom as a blocker. We'll play Arik, False Gold Warden as a blocker. Really sad. Yeah, opponent finally hit the Contagion Dispenser. We don't have a real out for this. Yeah, we're gonna concede this one here. I'm really surprised a lot. Maybe it is a very small sample size, but I am surprised people were playing this black-white deck. It's way... It requires you to curve out. It requires you to curve out really low, but also it requires your opponent to not have early plays. It's not an idea for a really good deck, no matter how I put it. I feel like it's missing cards that pressure. Like, let's do a mana base check. 14, 18, 23. So it's one less than normal. I probably would cut some of the Skitter Priests in favor of, like, say, another Wedding Announcement, another Extraction Specialist, some more removal perhaps. But yeah, it feels like this deck is an underperformer. We're gonna give it one more try. But I feel like it's just gonna be more of the same thing. And you would probably get my glowing recommendation to play any of the other 3 decks. There's also the possible lineup where it's really you really hope to get lucky with your Cursebound Witch. Anyway, this one is a solid keep. We can land gas. We can land on Shambling Gas if our opponent has an early drop. Opponent's also playing the white-black, so we might be able to get an advantage over our opponent in this case. But yeah, it looks like opponent goes for their own Shambling Ghast. We'll play this one out. Our opponent might just choose to Deadly Dispute. No, going for Arik. Okay. Now, technically, I would swing. Opponent might just end up taking 2 here, which I'm fine with. So I'm gonna play the Gixin Recycler as bait here. Now, if you would notice, I've not seen anyone play activate this ability for the most part. So we're now definitely playing the Seeding Skitter Priest, because now we have an advantage whenever our opponent chooses to block stuff. So we'll see how our opponent... We have 1 trigger. Our opponent might have another trigger. The problem is they'll see our targets first. So our safest bet is actually to go for the Treasure token. Yeah, they also went for Treasure. Opponent now has their own Seeding Skitter Priest minus a board state. No, this one is getting dangerously close. Now I do have options here. Yeah, because if he... Now, since that's gonna happen anyway, let's draw cards. So, definitely create a treasure token. So, yeah, we can probably sack this to pitch the swamp. We can also deadly dispute if we need to. Our opponent is going to get a bigger advantage with Wedding Festival down, so that's something to consider. But our board state is otherwise relatively healthy. Opponent goes for Skitter Priest again. So, gonna get more triggers off that. Opponent can finally hit us for that toxic one. Oh, if they're going for the right to Oblivion, we have Deadly Dispute. Yeah, perfect. And let's double check. Which one are they targeting? Huh? Wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, that's the one being targeted. Okay, just needed to confirm that. That was weird. I would have liked to see the targeting confirmation. There you go. Opponent's not going for the swing. But we are not going for the swing here. We are instead... Oh, we can do another one of these. Then I want to play a Sanguine Brushstroke as well. Hold on. And the mites keep coming back. Our opponent's forced to block 3 of them, but that's still a lot of damage. Between the double Blood Artist, oh wow, there's so many triggers here. But yeah, the only way this deck wins is if you can hit the excess. And we can also pitch to put our opponent down to 1. Opponent's gonna need removal for both Blood Artists. Okay, no, opponent's gonna sack right away. They forced to do it. Thankfully, they didn't die right away before that happened, but still a problem. Yeah, opponent concedes there. Blocking the tokens is not gonna work. Yeah, there are also the blood tokens to consider. Yeah, so we did finally get our win with that one, but that was only because we were Trump. Okay, that one's a bit hypocritical. Honestly, I probably would have just skipped all 3 of them, or probably just said yes to all 3 of them. Yeah, but that was a bit of a hypocrite of me. Anyway, we got our 4 wins there. So what would I say? Big Red is probably still the safest. It has a good amount of interaction and a lot more ways to churn through cards than you would think. Counterpoints is quite fine. It does build up big creatures easily, though it is vulnerable to the right of Oblivion. 4 Mirrodin has quite a good amount of counterplay, though I think it lacks the Abrades. Yeah, it doesn't have the artifact hate. And this one has artifact hate, but it's only 2 cards. Realistically, the artifact hate is kind of here. I can see why people are willing to play this one. You might chance into the removal, but yeah, all in all, at least we got a decent taste of what Alchemy has in store for us. That's gonna be it for this episode, Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications and whatnot. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys again next time. Take care, God bless, stay safe wherever you are. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.